So today is a late start day at school, but we don't have meetings, so I get to, well, I didn't really sleep in, but I don't have to even leave for work till 8:30 as opposed to 7:30 when I normally leave, or even before that on a late start day. So I've just been watching Vlogmas. I finished all of Heather's from Soggy Expat Book Nerds. I finished all of her Vlogmas videos from last year. Now I'm watching Sean and Bert's from Past Storytime, and I'm watching their ones from like 2019, so right before the pandemic, and it's just like kind of eerie to know like this is their last normal Christmas for a while and they have no idea what's up. Anyway, the nonfiction November book I have been reading forever is Columbine by Dave Cullen. It is so good. Like when I'm reading it, I am 100% sucked in. I'm not even aware of what's going on around me. Like, yeah, like really, really good to that level. However, last night I just felt like I just laid on my couch and read for hours. And then when I looked this morning at where my bookmark is, 166. Like what? So I decided that even though I'm enjoying this, like literally I might only be able to read this one in November and nothing else. And like it is physically in size a thick book, but also like slightly larger paperback, so maybe there's more words on each page. I don't really know. All I know is I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of information in there that was incorrectly reported, and this is like the accurate story of what happened, so that's really interesting. And I was telling my cousin about it when we hung out recently, and she was like, oh, Jake, that's her husband, was just listening to a podcast of it and was telling her all this stuff about it. Okay, so then I talked to Jake on Facebook and I was like, hey, like what was that podcast? And he said, oh, it was just one episode, and he gave it to me. So then I started listening to it, and a lot of the information in that podcast is not accurate either. Like it's just like basically these two people that are kind of like really interested in murder in general, and just decided to do an episode on Columbine, which is great, except that all their sources were from the inaccurate places. Like they didn't really do the correct research in order to create a quality podcast episode. So they're just out there again spreading a lot of lies about what happened. And so yeah, that's basically why I think this book is so interesting, is just to get the real story. And also because I was so young when it happened. I was in 7th grade. I never knew the details, you know. I knew it happened, but I was in 7th grade. Like I'm not gonna like really dig in and learn about the killers and learn about the victims and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. The point that I am right now in the story is really, really just like, oh, so frustrating, because they're basically talking about this former friend of Eric's, who had, his parents had been reporting Eric to the police for a year and a half before this happened, just with this website or blog he had, whatever, online journal, something, of like all these threats, this stuff that he was actually doing to this family, like really malicious things, and the police didn't do anything about it a year and a half before this happened. And not only did they not do anything about it, but then they lied about ever having seen the information, the reports, anything, when they literally like had like the warrants, and or not the warrants, but like the search warrants and the complaints and everything like right in front of them. And then these parents had copies of it so they could say, well, okay, they're denying it, but look, this is what I have. This is from the police department like a year and a half ago. So frustrating. Anyway, I don't know if I said this, but basically the point I'm telling you all this is because I decided, because it's taking me so long and because I'm so into it, that I am going to get it from the library as an audiobook, which I did. And that way I can listen to it in the car and on walks and all sorts of stuff, so I can pick up the pace a little bit. Not like I need to rush through it by any means, but I just would like to read more nonfiction in November, although this one is so good, so good, so good. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Not only did the police like completely deny that they ever had all this information. The author, Dave Cullen, is currently talking about they had like a search warrant, basically saying that they knew that Eric was building pipe bombs. He had the motivation, he had like the equipment to do it, he had like the reason behind why he wanted to do it, like all this stuff. And the search warrant never made its way to the judge. So after Columbine, the police department, like a bunch of them, had this private meeting. It was called the open space meeting, I think, where they basically talked about how they were going to cover their asses.